I recently watched a video of a preacher that asked ChatGPT a rather simple question. If you were the devil, and maybe you are, what would you do? And as he read the response, I got goosebumps. Not because it was dramatic or spooky or anything like that. It was because the whole thing kind of described the world that we're living in today, literally. And I honestly thought that he was making this up or he was just kind of exaggerating some of what ChatGPT was saying. So I tried it myself. I went to ChatGPT and I asked it the same exact question. If you were the devil, and maybe you are, what would you do? And here's its response. Now, follow along here. If I were the devil, the smartest move wouldn't be theatrics, red horns, fire pits, or anything dramatic. I'd do the opposite. I'd make people believe I don't exist. Because once you remove the idea of evil, everything starts to look relative, interpretable, and not that bad. Then I'd work quietly. I'd divide people into tribes, race, class, politics, generations until nobody trusts anyone, and everyone thinks their neighbor is the enemy. I'd convince people that feelings matter more than truth, so truth becomes optional, flexible, or offensive. I'd feed everyone endless noise and distraction so nobody ever sits still long enough to ask themselves, what am I doing with my life? I'd make people chase comfort instead of purpose because comfortable people rarely fight for anything that matters. I'd make fathers irrelevant, mothers overwhelmed, and kids confused because a broken family is the easiest way to break a society. I'd turn tolerance into a weapon, pushing the idea that if you don't celebrate everything, you hate everything. And then I'd finish with the simplest trick. I'd convince good people that being good is pointless because nothing ever changes and the world is too far gone. That's how you beat a society without ever firing a shot. If you want it shorter, in other words, in short, if I were the devil, I'd make people lose hope but think they were choosing it themselves. Wow. Now, look, I'm not saying that this response is anything like supernatural. I understand how AI works. It pulls from books, themes, patterns, and yeah, if you've ever read the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis, this response absolutely has that tone, doesn't it? That quiet, subtle, evil works best when it hides tone. So maybe this is just AI being AI, remixing old ideas in a new format or in a new way. But here's what gets me about this whole thing. Even if it's just remixing, it still described our world today almost perfectly. I mean, just look at what we've lived through these past 5 years, from 2020 to 2025. Families torn apart over politics, people ending friendships over who someone voted for, generations attacking each other online instead of learning from one another. I mean, my truth replacing the truth, hours a day lost on scrolling, doom scrolling, and distractions, record levels of loneliness and isolation, record levels of anxiety and depression, kids struggling more than any generation before them, parents overwhelmed and exhausted. I mean, cancel culture being used by every side to silence people, a culture that worships comfort but they mock purpose. I mean, good people becoming cynical, convinced that nothing they do matters. You don't have to believe in angels or demons to see it. All you have to do is just look around. And whether AI accidentally plagiarized C.S. Lewis or not, the fact is, it described our culture, pretty accurately, didn't it? And that should make every single person watching this video stop and think. Maybe the real problem isn't whether the devil exists. Maybe the real problem is that the world acts like he doesn't exist. We ignore evil, we shrug at dysfunction, and we pretend everything is not that bad, even while everything is falling apart. And we've gotten so used to it that we don't question it anymore. Good job, Prince of Darkness. Nobody suspects you at all. And that's life according to Barry. Hey, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. If this episode made you think, hit like, share, and subscribe. It helps me more than you know. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay out of the left lane if you can't keep up.